Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Hi, welcome to IKEA.
This is my college campus.
Correct, but I see you're on IKEA.com ordering some college items.
My daughter's room is pretty bare. We need a lamp, some comfy pillows, her favorite stuffy.
Dad!
With pickup options, we've got what you need to conveniently order IKEA. Literally anywhere.
Sweet. More time for gaming.
And studying. Wait, where are you going now?
Have to show the ultimate Frisbee team how easy it is to order from IKEA. Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however you want. Choose from thousands of pickup locations, affordable delivery options, and more.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation. The MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at _MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the MisFitNation show, your Thursday after dinner edition. We know you have plenty of other places you can be tonight, but thankfully you chose to ride with us. Tonight, we have a great guest coming on. He is a retired Master Sergeant with over 20 years experience in special operations, serving entirely with the 75th Ranger Regiment and Special Forces. He completed 7 combat deployments and 2 non-combat deployments to Central and South America. Today, he leads with purpose through 2 missions, Counterculture Solutions and Hero Games Charity. Counterculture is more than a company, it's a lifestyle, built to teach resilience, mindset, and personal responsibility. It equips men and women to lead with clarity and fight for what matters. Hero Games is its counterpart in the nonprofit space, honoring fallen special operations warriors by hosting their families for a week of connection, remembrance, and community in Bedford, Virginia, culminating in the Hero Games, a grueling 6 to 8 hour team event led by SOF cadre in honor of the fallen. So without further ado, let's bring in Joshua Daniel to the MisFitNation show. Welcome, Joshua.
Rich, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, brother. I'm glad you made it in. I'm starting to worry about you there.
Yeah, we live up in the mountains, man, and we've got a big storm coming through, and our Starlink was getting a little wonky on us.
All right, so you're my first guy on Starlink, so we'll test it out here. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I just gave basically a 2-sentence brief on you, Josh. If you don't mind, tell the Misfit Nation a little more about you, to what led you to serve and what got us here.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thanks for having me. Let's see. I'm 39 years old and retired, man. Kind of the perk of joining the Army at 17.
Yes.
I actually retired at 38, so that's pretty cool. I'm married, been married for almost 19 years. I have 4 kids. From Bedford, Virginia, made it back here. You highlighted most of my professional, the wave tops.
Right.
Went straight into the 75th Ranger Regiment out of high school. That was a challenge and an adventure for sure. Migrated my way over to Special Forces about 5 years after entering the Ranger Regiment. Finished out my career there as a team sergeant, which just I think is the pinnacle of being a Special Forces dude. And then retired my butt back here to Bedford, started a new company, keeping Hero Games going. That's our older company. And dude, I don't think I've ever been happier than I am right now.
It's an awesome feeling when you get that. Now it's a whitish card now. It's a great feeling when you're able to hang up the boots and move forward and know that everything you've done is awesome. Like you said, you had the best job right before you left as the team sergeant, and you grew up with the Ranger Regiment and went to the SF after. Like a lot of guys do, they do that kind of pipeline thing. Do Ranger Regiment, either go right to conventional Special Forces or go to Tier 1 Delta, and you all kind of stay together and do that thing. And then not many actually go back home, and that's what you've done. So that's a new one for us here. I haven't heard someone say they went back to their home, and that's a good thing too, because now you're relaxing in a place you're really comfortable with.
Yeah, man, it feels good, dude. I didn't leave this place because I hated it. I left because of a sense of service and sort of a necessity to go and contribute in my own way. And so I was dreaming about coming back here for a long time.
All right. That is a lot of the people you grew up with still there, or did most of them move out?
Yeah, I would say, 50-50, man. Really just coming back to family, just coming back to the mountains, coming back to a small community where people know each other, people care about each other. That's what it really is about.
You know, the hustle and bustle of like around most bases, the insanity that goes around with the cities that are right outside the base. So up in the mountains, you have that peace and clarity too. So that helps out a lot with the next part of life and the things you're doing now.
It does, man. And gosh, I swear, you know, when you're serving, especially if you serve for a long time, you sort of just accept that as life. And man, I forgot what normal life was like. You know, it's crazy, dude. And I guess it's kind of a good thing that you're able to adapt and deal with the hardship. But man, I think that the biggest surprise in my transition has been how chill regular life is. It's been alarming, actually.
You got to pinch yourself every once in a while.
For sure, man.
So I know for me, 2013, I was about to PCS to my last duty station up in Aberdeen, Maryland. And on the way, we took a trip to Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina. And that's where I realized that I can be free after the military. We went up there, me and my daughter climbed the top of that mountain and my wife, and we're just sat up there, and it's just serene and peaceful. And knowing that is there, I don't have to worry about the things I did for the 20 plus years that I was in. It could all come back to normalcy as I came out. And I think that's the same feeling you have now.
It is.
I mean, it's a great thing to do. So tell us a little bit more about counterculture.
Yeah, man, counterculture is my new kind of baby, right? But I'm also a dang homesteader, chicken farmer, all that other stuff. So I think counterculture is just my new way of serving, frankly. And there's so much to it, from one-on-one mentoring to personal firearms training. We lead treks up in the mountains for various audiences. We have a purpose trek, which is kind of open to everyone. And that's getting up in the mountains and talking about why we're here, why you're here. What are you doing with your time? We have a men's trek called The Weight We Carry, and it's dudes in the mountains talking about what it means to be a dude in modern society. And we kind of made it into this simulated mountain rescue mission as well. So not only do guys have the opportunity to come up there, be around similar thinking men, but also walk away with some additional skills. So, I'm pretty stoked and proud about that. We do stuff for kids. We have a youth survival course. We're going to be doing some youth treks when the weather gets a little cooler and not, we don't have to worry about kids going down with heat exhaustion up there. Yeah. So really, in a nutshell, it's taking my experience from 20 years in special operations and saying, hey, what part of this can I bring back to my community to contribute to make this a better place, frankly.
That's outstanding. I like all the different paths that you have in there, including the one with the kids, because a lot of times people concentrate solely on the adults and forget that we can build those kids up to be the next leaders of our country, the next leaders of our communities, to do right and do the right things and do the right things with their peers and those around them. And I think that's an awesome thing you're doing.
Yeah, dude, we certainly make an impact on adults, no doubt, but kids don't forget these meaningful days up in the mountains, man. We were kind of proofing the concept of this company for like the past 4 years. And we did a youth survival course back in 2021. And I got a text last week from a father who referenced something his kid had learned. It was basically making a spear, actually.
Nice.
And so, here it is 4 years later that this kid had a meaningful enough experience with us to remember.
That is outstanding. And 4 years later in kid world, that's like 15 years. So, because they go through so much stuff in life in that small period, from school to extracurriculars and everything else going on, the chaotic lives they live now. Yeah. So that's outstanding that you're able to leave that impression on him and him to share it with his father, that he can share back with you. That's a win for you.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Because, for us, it's just not about money. So those are the wins. Yeah.
I was checking out your core message earlier, and I have it highlighted on my screen. Excellence is available to everyone, but not everyone is willing to work for it. I charted the path. Now I help others to walk it. That is an awesome core message. And how does that received by those who come to you?
Yeah. That's exactly it, man. Excellence is available to everyone, man. I joined the Army as a 134-pound kid, dude. Okay. And I achieved, I think that just take me out of this, the career that I had stands alone, or stands for itself. I mean, that is excellence within the Army. And if someone like me can go, give it their best and achieve excellence, then that's available. That truly is available to anyone. And I think, to specifically answer your question, people really don't believe that until you tell them. A lot of people don't believe that until you tell them. And you kind of see these light bulb moments happen with people where they go, oh, wow, I really am capable of being excellent, right? So that's how it's received. And I don't think I've seen it received any other way, man, to be honest with you, because a lot of the people that are pursuing what we have to offer are people who are kind of stuck in some ways, right? Or children who just haven't been told that thing yet.
Haven't been shined that light yet. And sometimes light doesn't necessarily come from the home. It could come from another mentor like yourself or one of the cadre there that, boom, oh my God, I can do something other than what my parents have always told me to do. And I'm actually better at things than I'm told in school. I can be an awesome person.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Or, they're being told that by their parents, and sometimes kids just aren't able to hear it from their parents.
Well, I think we all were like that.
Yeah.
When you're a teenager or just preteen or teenager, your dad can be telling you the sky is blue and you'll be like, yeah, whatever, dad. Got it. It's purple to me. Got it. And it's not like we both retire. I'm sure you look back at things your dad or mom said to you, huh, maybe it was right back then. Maybe they were correct, especially raising kids now.
Yeah, man.
So how big are the groups that you take on these treks up there?
Yeah. Sometimes I think the smallest group we took was 10.
Okay.
It's not a big crowd. We really focus on a solid cadre to client ratio. That's important to us. We want people to walk away having a personal experience. And you can't do that in a group of 20 or more, frankly.
But you'll lose some of them. You'll lose some of them just by not paying attention, really, because they don't think they're getting that focus from you.
Yeah, there's just ain't enough time to talk to everybody, if you have a big group.
Right. And I see that you do for businesses and schools as well. You got TVAs, threat vulnerability assessments, team building events. Those are always fun. Active shooter training. I'm sure you take them to their place to do the training. You go to their location to do it, or do they come to you?
Yeah, that's something that we're actually building right now. Yeah. So on the TVA side, that's actually, we offer an initial TVA for free right now to churches, businesses, and schools, because we want people to be aware of their vulnerabilities. And honestly, man, it doesn't take me long to put one together. Go out to the site, check it out. I have a very thorough process. It's derived from doing TVAs as a Green Beret all over the world. And, we're able to open their eyes and say, hey, look, here's, at least you're aware now. And then we give them ways that they can fill those gaps on their own. And then there are some things that, obviously they're going to have to come to us or someone similar to us, something like basic first aid, right? Because if we're real honest about this, CPR ain't enough, right? If we're doing CPR, then many things have gone wrong medically. So that's kind of where we are on the TVAs. And then regarding the active shooter stuff, what we came to find out in this area, without getting into too many boring details, dealing with the local PD, they're very much involved in the local schools and building out proper responses for active shooter scenarios. The problem is, and this is something we're unable to solve, is money. There's just not enough money to go fill these gaps that the schools know about. So maybe that's a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah, it's a whole other episode, and that's across the country now with funding, because they have to pick and choose where that money goes now.
Yeah.
Do I want to have this cool tech suite for the kids to learn on, or do I want to have security to keep them safe? Where's the happy medium there? And sometimes it's the teacher taking that out of their pocket to protect that one classroom, not the whole school, but that one classroom.
Yeah, and it's the public schools that are suffering. Most of your private schools they've got it covered, man. They really do. Again, without going into too many details around here, the teachers are very much prepared in private schools to protect their students.
And that's a blessing. That's why I'll leave that one. So,
yeah.
And that also comes with the money in those schools as well, too.
100%.
Caring and not just having check the block numbers, I guess, for public schools.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. I'll also step away at that point as well, because I have a lot of opinions on public school system.
That'd be a long coffee talk and probably go into other stuff talk.
Yeah.
All right, we'll transition to Hero Games Charity. And tell us, what was your idea when you started this? And I know you said that's the one you want to keep going and keep surviving with counterculture. So let's talk about the baby.
Yeah, man. Hero Games Charity. So this started in 2017 and it was me coming home on leave, going to my brother and his wife's CrossFit gym, Sharp Top CrossFit in Bedford, Virginia, and saying, hey, I'm not so sure about CrossFit. I don't think that your folks could handle a workout that's more than 30 minutes. You guys have an hour class, you warm up, you cool down, you do a whiteboard brief, you only work out for 15, 30 minutes max. I don't think they can handle anything more than that. So he said, hey, give it a shot. So we ran a military style workout that had no CrossFit in it. And it was in the cold and it was raining. Actually, it was just the perfect combination of, a nasty little environment to expose them to. I think we probably had about 10 people. We've got a good picture of the group from that night. And most of them were stoked about it and just thought, hey, I've never done anything like this. Can you do more? And this is 2017. So I think now there's been a little more of an integration of veterans going out into the fitness space and doing things like this. Back then, it really wasn't prevalent. So we did it again. I deployed, I came back, and we did it again, just a little bigger. And I think we got like Subway to feed everybody at the end. And we're like, hey, man, I think we can do something with this. So over the years, that progressed to what it is now. So this year, we are honoring PFC Eric Hario from 1st Ranger Battalion. And we're doing that by flying his family in. We've already booked their Airbnb. All of their expenses are paid, everything. When they get in, we greet them. We bring them out to eat. They meet the team. We throw them into their B&B. Next day, we go out to the D-Day Memorial, which is here in our hometown, because Bedford, Virginia lost more men per capita than any other town or city in the United States on D-Day, Omaha Beach. So we take them up to the D-Day Memorial. We emplace a brick in honor of their person. And then that night we have a big team or platoon party, something you're very familiar with. So this is where we really kind of solidified the bond we all sit around, we have food, we have drinks, and we talk about the person that we're there to talk about. We hear stories from the family, stories from friends, and the next morning we wake up and we do the hero games. The hero games is 6 teams that are put together by local CrossFit gyms, and we also have 2 open to all teams. So for every hero games, 4 of your teams are already taken by these local gyms, because we want to keep this a local event. That leaves 24 tickets for the rest of the country. And we have people that have come from California, Washington, Florida, Texas, everywhere to participate. So it's a very short or a very small amount of tickets available. Those 6 teams battle it out in about a 6-hour competition that is built by myself and my team. It changes every year. You're going to get wet. You're going to get muddy. You might make engagements with BB guns. You might throw hatchets. There's pyrotechnics involved. It's quite an immersive experience. It's very emotional. And no one wins, actually. A team will come in first, but that's not what it's about. So we finish up breaking bread again that night, and honoring the person that we're there to honor. And that's it. Next day, the family comes onto our podcast. We have a podcast called the Catalyst Collective, and that is the voice of our various organizations. And so bring the family on the podcast, and we have some of the most emotional and sincere conversations you could think of with those folks. And they get to tell their story. They get to tell the story of their lost person. And then we send them home, and we maintain a relationship with them. So it doesn't end at the hero games. We stay in touch with all of our families, and a lot of our families come back each year.
That's awesome. And I like the whole setup of it, as you keep it local, but also open up the 24 slots to those from out around the country, really. And do you have a lot of dudes or dudettes that you served with that apply to come and do the too, or just ask you if they can jump in there?
Yeah, we have, last year we had 57 volunteers. And in the beginning, it was just our friends, man. It was our friends doing everything. It was our friends volunteering. It was our friends competing. People just pouring into us, man. And what an amazing thing. That has more or less stayed the same, but it's grown, right? So we have a lot more friends now, and each person that comes each year becomes our friend, because it's such a personal experience, man. It's not like going to do one of these obstacle course races where you're there with 500 people who don't give a shit about each other. That ain't it. We don't allow that, man. We straight up don't allow it. So everyone there is having a personal experience, and it expands our circle every year.
That is outstanding. I like the whole premise of it. I know exactly where you are now, Bedford, Virginia. Had to think, and once you said the D-Day Monument Museum, I drive down past there going on 81, so I know right where that is.
Yeah.
The longest road in the world, 81 north and south.
I hate 81.
Yes, me too. But it's embedded in here. I know everything about it.
Yeah,
I've been pulled over on there a couple times. It's a glorious road, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
I do have a question from the audience here. This is from Rowboat 54. You spent over 20 years in U.S. Special Operations. What were some of the defining moments that shaped your leadership style during that time? Thank you, Ro.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Thank you for that. Dude, how do you narrow that down? Right. Defining moments, most of them were negative. I'm sure that's something that you feel as well, because I feel like a lot of what I learned and brought into my leadership style was what not to do. So my number one goal when I was a team sergeant was to make sure dudes knew that I cared about them. And caring about them meant that I made them more lethal and I increased their survivability on the battlefield. Not that we were drinking buddies or anything of the like. It was that I really loved them. I would die for them. And because of that, I was going to make them super lethal. And I saw the opposite of that many times. I saw leaders that just didn't care. They were in that position to get to the next position oftentimes, or you had leaders that lacked the ability to build relationships. So they just neglected that. Hey, I don't know how to do this, so I'm just not going to do it. And they carried that into their home as well. So I think that was the resounding thing that I was always seeing was, man, I want one of these dudes to love me, like to really love me, not to like me, not to like my personality, but to love me enough to be so willing to die right beside me. And I'm not saying that those leaders weren't or that they wouldn't have. I'm sure they would have, right? But I didn't feel that way. They didn't communicate that. There was no connection. And so I did my best to fix that as a leader.
Definitely. And you hit the nail on the head. A lot of lessons I learned were from things I knew weren't right, and how to make it better was to flip that script or go do that 180 and do things a lot different. My first platoon sergeant wouldn't go to the field with us. Would not go to the field with us. We would be out there for 30 days. He'd be in the office. And then we come back and he'd inspect us. And that just showed me the polar opposite of what you need to do. That was at Fort Stewart, early 90s. And I learned a lot of bad habits from bad leaders. It wasn't until probably I made staff sergeant where I really was able to turn myself around, make myself into a better leader just by doing that 180.
Yeah, and that's typical, man. You see that a lot, right? The young private, he hates what his leaders do, and then he becomes an E4, maybe he's a corporal gun team leader, now he's an E5, and he's the asshole that he hated.
Yep.
Then he starts to wise up. E6, he's like, oh man, maybe this isn't the way. E7, hopefully he's like, okay, that was wrong. I'm doing it better. And by the time he's an E8 or E9, hopefully he's really on track. Yeah, that's the kind of the nature of that job in some ways, because you're so young. I mean,
influential.
Yeah, I was an E5 leading a fire team at 21 years, actually at 20 years old.
See,
it's like, dude, you don't know anything, right? Another thing that I'll say is I think that patience and empathy is really important when we look at leaders in any way, or just people in general, because there were leaders that I had that I thought were wrong. And then as I grew, I realized, man, I think he was right, actually. I'll give you an example of that. I remember in 2007, my squad leader, he brought our whole squad in. And I don't agree with his approach on this, but I get it now. And he told us all, I don't like any of you. I don't want any of you to be my friend. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is the mission. And I remember walking out of there thinking, man, I don't want to die with that guy. Why would I die beside a dude that just told me he doesn't like me? Yeah. But then as I grew, I realized that his care about the mission was his love for us. That was his love for us, man. He was not doing us any favor by being our friend. I didn't need a friend. I did a really good lethal squad leader. And in hindsight, that's generally what he was for us.
Definitely. I know when I became a squad leader, I was full of piston vinegar, and I learned that quick power curve really quick, learning it. Every person's not the same. Learned social intelligence really before I knew what that even was. I learned it on the fly. And as I tailed out, I learned that is the best way to have a fully functioning team that's ready, like you said before, be lethal and do it and live and come back with you, is to have that social intelligence and know that man A, man B, girl A, they need to be in these positions in order to win. And that's the only way to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And as a team sergeant, I wish that I could say I did it as well as I thought I was going to do it. I think my biggest failure as a team sergeant was being hyper focused on the mission. I mean, there's no denying I made my boys lethal and I increased their survivability. There were times where I could have taken a step back and said, hey, this is serious, but it's not that serious.
Right.
It's not so serious that, I have to dig in on something that they're clearly resisting. That, hey, you're going to mess things up. And I messed that up and I learned from it. And, I guess I'm fortunate to be able to sit here and say, hey, well, I could have done a little better in that way, but dude, I couldn't sit here in these mountains and be okay if I hadn't really pushed them to be lethal. Right. Because, we're always on the brink of war. You name it. Maybe it's Iran this week. It was Russia, Ukraine a month ago. Maybe it'll be somewhere different. Maybe it's Taiwan in a month. And one thing that I can really sleep well knowing is that I gave those dudes everything that they need to go and win.
And you also laid the blueprint to how to make the new guys on the team also come up to that level as well. So your legacy is there for that. We got another question from Mr. Tree Movie. What inspired you to start Counterculture Solutions, and how does your military experience influence the way you teach mindset and purpose? Thanks, Mr. Tree.
Yeah. How does it influence the way I teach mindset and what?
Purpose.
Yeah. Well, I knew that there were things that I wanted to share with people that I wasn't going to do under Hero Games because I did not want to take away from the Hero Games mission. So I wasn't going to, again, come here into the mountains and sit on a skill set that I think people deserve to at least have access to, right? I mean, take 20 years of experience and just put it in a safe and lock it up, and that's not me. So that was the inspiration. Was I have to share this because I believe that we must make ourselves the best version of ourselves. Then when we're in a place where we can project out, we do. I feel like that's an obligation. And so I want to be able to project out and help my community. How that affects mindset, you said in resilience?
And purpose.
And purpose. I love that. Number one, purpose. Your purpose, I believe that every individual's purpose on this earth is to give back. It ain't about you getting as strong and as pretty and as rich and as happy as possible. I really don't believe that that's what life is about. And I think that it's very healthy for the world when we all look and say, hey, what can I do to contribute to a better place now, a better place in the future? I think that's a very healthy thing. And so when I look back at my professional purpose for the past 20 years, it was service. And I believe that everyone needs to find a way that they can serve. Maybe you're a nurse. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you're a trash man. There's nothing wrong with being a trash man. Dude, I know at least one fantastic trash man, and maybe there's a better term for him than that. But dude, such a necessary role in our community, and that's service, right? And I did a whole podcast episode on being excellent. Excellent is not a title. You can be anything and be excellent at that, right? You can be an excellent person without having an excellent title. And so I think that we have to give back, man. Our purpose here is to give back. And transitioning over to the question regarding mindset, mindset is so complex, but I think at the core of it is having a growth mindset, not this mindset that things are fixed, but that opportunity is everywhere. Nothing is holding you back, right? Yes, this thing might hold you back, but there's a way around it. So in the end, there's no way to stop me. There's no way to stop you. So stop thinking that way. And I think that when people can say, hey, I'm here to give back, and there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fantastic place.
Outstanding. When you said be excellent, it made me think of John F. Kennedy when he walked through the NASA program. He was asking people what they do there. And the one guy said, all I do is sweep. He said, no, you make this place sanitary so we can get that bird in the air. You're part of the mission here. So everyone be the best you can at whatever you do. I had one mentor that told me that too. So no matter where you go, wherever the Army sends you, be the best where you are and just keep doing that. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. And you know what, man? There's a certain level of glory. I can only speak for myself, right? There's a certain level of glory about being a Ranger, being a Green Beret. When I was at CrossFit level 1 back in January, and I met a former Marine, and he asked what I did. I told him. I asked what he did, and he was like, "Oh, well, man, I was just a logistics guy." I was like, "Bro, what do you mean just?
Yep.
You're not just a logistics guy, right?" And we talked through that. I think that's probably really tough, man, to fill a role where you feel like you have to say, "Oh, I was just this." Like, dude, so actually, in a way, people who are filling those roles, like my father has worked at a cemetery for 40 years, and he's the best man that I know. He's the best man that I know. And for 40 years, he's gone into work, nice and early, dug graves, kept landscaping together. I mean, it's thankless, dude. People go to a cemetery and it's nice and orderly and it's a beautiful place of honor, and they don't think about the people behind that. And he's such a capable dude. I'm telling you, the man could have been a Green Beret as well. So, but he just does that job. And he's probably never met anyone his entire life where he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a gravedigger." And they were like, "Whoa, that's so cool." Whereas for me, every person I tell, "Hey, I was a Green Beret for 20 years," like, "Whoa, that's so cool." Like, he never gets that, but he keeps doing it at a high level. Man, there's something, those people are special, dude.
Definitely. Yes.
He's special.
And it's called being humble too. Humble. And
yes.
Being best at your profession, and also being humble. It's two things that a lot of people need to learn.
No doubt, man.
Oh, you talked about being a Ranger earlier, and someone chimed in with a question on that as well. Can do 45. Which bat were you in with 75th, and why is first bat the best?
Dude, that's such a funny question, man. That's a typical question too, dude. So I was in 1st Ranger Battalion.
There you
and
go.
1st Ranger Battalion is the best battalion, I think, for one reason. And I say that as a matter of fact. for a long time, I can only say for myself, and when I was there, when you graduated RIP, right, the Ranger Indoctrination Program, or now it's RASP, Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, you get to choose, your order. So for me, it was 1, 3, 2, first bat, third bat, second bat. Now, when I graduated, they gave priority to the guys with the highest scores, right? PT scores, RUC scores. There is some intellectual testing even back then. So your most capable dudes were getting to choose the battalion that they wanted to go to. No one wants to go to 3rd Battalion. No one. Okay, all right. There's probably 1% of dudes who want to go to 3rd Battalion, right? Because they're like from Columbus or something.
Right.
Hardly anyone chooses 3rd Battalion. Most guys choose 1st Bat because who doesn't want to live in Savannah, Georgia, by the beach? There's like 5 colleges there, and all the girls love Young Rangers. It's sunny, and unlike Washington, it rains all the time. You have a group of dudes that want to go West Coast because they're from the West Coast. Right. So hey, man, I think 1st Bat is the best bat because the best dudes get to choose where they want to go, and most of them want to go to 1st Bat. That's a highly controversial opinion, and certainly in my corner, as I would say that. So that's my take.
That's outstanding. I hope Can Do like the answer. It seemed like he was a 1st Bat guy as well. So I'm sure the answer it landed well, probably.
That's my theory.
Yeah. One more question from the audience here. This is from Stuff Puff. How can civilians and veterans alike begin to apply your principles of bold leadership and truth seeking in their everyday lives?
First thing, you got to know who you are. If you don't know who you are and what you're about, hey, sit down for one day. Sit down for one day and figure it out. It doesn't take long. Think about what's important to you. I use the 8 dimensions of wellness to actually as a framework for everything we do with counterculture. But I use the 8 dimensions of wellness as almost this check on like, where do I stand? Where am I standing right now? Spiritually, physically, intellectually, emotionally, where am I? Right. And so that helps you figure out who you are, what you're doing here. Do you care about spirituality? Right. So first you got to know who you are. And then once you know who you are, you have to relentlessly pursue that life. That's it, right? Do things that are in line with who you are, who you want to be. And so there's a piece of that a lot of people don't want to do. That, of course, people don't want to do the hard work, but the other piece of that is people are so fearful. I call them moral cowards. They're so fearful of standing for what they believe. And I'm not saying for you this ain't going on Instagram and making some political post. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. That ain't sure. Maybe that's standing for what you believe, but standing for what you believe is about demonstration more than claims. Right. So I believe in the traditional American family. I've lived that for 20 years. Right. I demonstrate the things that I value in my life. And so I think that's what it is. Know who you are, relentlessly pursue that, and don't be a moral coward. Don't be scared to do the things that are necessary for you to continue down that path.
Outstanding. Josh, we blazed through about 50 minutes here. Usually towards the end of the show, we ask 2 questions to our guests. One puts you on the hot seat. One is just to see how our audience can get with you, how they can contact you to get in touch with you. So what's the best way for our audience to reach out and touch you and talk to you?
Yeah. Best way you can find me 3 places. My personal Instagram and Facebook, which is at JDXHGCXCCS. So that's just JD, Hero Games Charity, Counterculture Solutions. I'm super responsive on my social media, and if you do follow me, shoot me a DM that you heard about it on this show, because I don't let everyone follow me. I just don't want weirdos following me. So it is a private page. If you want to follow our organizations, Counterculture is at Counterculture Solutions on Instagram and Facebook. Hero Games Charity is at Hero Games Charity on Instagram and Facebook. Easy way to find us. We're very active on social media. We're very responsive.
Outstanding. And the final question to put you on the spot is, what's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better humans?
Care about other people more than you care about yourself. Take action with that in mind, and show empathy and give people the benefit of the doubt. Sit on your front porch when you're 80 years old and have fewer regrets about being unkind or unwilling. Have fewer regrets in that regard, because I think that a lot of us are going to sit on our front porch when we're 80 and we're going to go, man, I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do, and I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. So let's try to minimize those things, those feelings.
Outstanding. Those are 3 good ones. Great chat with you tonight, Josh. And like you said earlier, we could have a whole other conversation on some other things we talked about earlier, and that would be a great conversation for another day. So I really enjoyed your story. I really want to see more from Hero Games and Counterculture as we move forward in the future, of course. If the Misfit Nation can get up there to Hero Games and just get some B-roll and check it out with you, give you more publicity, we do that for you too.
Dude, that would be sick. We'd love to have you. September 6th.
September 6th. Okay. We'll see if we have one guy in Jersey. It's easiest for him to get there. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, thanks again for taking some time tonight and getting that Starlink up for us and showing us that it does work, and maybe we should invest in one as well.
It's great, dude. It really is.
I could see it. This is like the best stream we've had in a long time. So
nice.
Thank you very much tonight, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, bro, and thank the audience as well. Appreciate it.
All right, Misfit Nation, remember, a day tomorrow with you is better than a day without. Don't do anything to create the final solution without talking to someone first. If 988 isn't your thing, reach out to one of us at the Misfit Nation, info@themisfitnation.com, Steven at themisfitnation.com, or Jake at themisfitnation.com. Tomorrow is better with you. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.